Hey guys, Stay-Patient here, back with another Fallout 4 video, and today we're going to be taking a bit of a closer look at crafting and inventory management. Now, part of the reason for this video is because I uploaded one the other day that was kind of a tour of my settlement, and just in passing I mentioned something about having different boxes out to store your crafting supplies in. And I had a box specially over here, you'll see it's gone now. But I had a box for my mods, my weapon and armour mods. Now, since then, I've discovered something which I should have known. I'm kind of embarrassed that I didn't know this. I think I did know it. I'm so used to playing a certain way on Fallout 3 in New Vegas that I just did the same and carried it over to this game. But the fact that I sort of was reminded of, I guess, was that all of your crafting supplies should really go into your workbench or your workstation. Now, as you know, all of your crafting stations, whether they're armor and weapons or the chem station, the cooking stove, they're all linked to your workstation. Now, just to remind you what I mean by the workstation, I think that's the name of it, or maybe workshop. Yeah, sorry, workshop. So all of your inventory that is in this workshop is shared with all the others, so it doesn't matter where you put it. You can put it into any of these crafting benches and it will be shared between all of them. Now, the reason for this, the reason I say that you want to put your crafting stuff in here is because whenever you access any of your crafting stations, it will automatically have access to any inventory that is stored within those stations. So if I go to, let's have a look, transfer here, and I scroll across, you'll see that all my mods are in here. Now, what that means is whenever I go to either this armor or this weapon station, it will have access to all of those mods that are stored in it. So I don't need to keep putting those mods in and out of a box. And that took ages, because every time I was finished crafting, I'd end up going to the box and having to press X like 100 times just to put all my mods back in. So this is much better. Obviously, I do still have some boxes out for things that aren't craftable and things that I want access to easily. So things such as the chems. So any chems which aren't used for crafting. I think some of these can be used for crafting, so just be aware of that. But obviously, if you're trying to create something, you can always go to your box and take out, for instance, Med-X, I think can be used to craft syringes for the syringer rifle. So you could always put those things into your workbench as well if you want. But I just like having access to them, because if I think, right, I want some jet to take with me, it's much easier to take out of a box that's only got a few things in, rather than scrolling through a massive long list of all the different aid that's in the actual workbench. Because of course there's loads of aid in here. It's all the irradiated food and the craftable food and things. And I do the same with the food that I've already made, so the steaks and stuff that I've already cooked. But for the most part, all of the things that can be crafted should go into your benches. Then you never have to take them in and out of any boxes or any inventory. It just stays there the whole time, and every time you craft, it'll know what you've got because it's already stored there. Now, I hope that clears things up, because I did want to apologise about giving that information about storing stuff in boxes. That was a bad idea. You don't want to do that. But while we're here, we're going to take a quick look at crafting as well. You know, how to make some really cool weapons without needing the perks. If I go to my perk tree real quickly, you'll see that I do not have gun nut. I've got no points into gun nut, no points into science, nothing in blacksmith, and the same goes for armourer. So I've got none of the perks involved in crafting. But if I take you to the workbench and show you some of these weapons, I'll show you just one as an example for the sake of time. But let's just go, let's say this sniper. Now this gun, despite me not having any of the perks, I have the very best receiver, the most powerful receiver, the .50. As you can see there, it requires gun nut to build. But because I took it off another weapon, I had it available to put on this one, so I didn't need to have gun nut to be able to use it. The same goes for the barrel, the very bottom barrel, the very highest quality barrel, the highest quality grip here, or stock, and the very best recon scope, which is really cool, it marks enemies, and that one requires gun nut and science, neither of which I have on my character. And again, muzzle brake. Now I've gone with that because I didn't need a suppressor on this, although I don't actually have a suppressor yet. Once I get one, I might stick it on here, depending on you know, what other guns I'm using, or if I'm going for a sneak build or whatever. But in this case, I've got the best possible kind of damage, range and accuracy related muzzle. So you might be thinking, how have I created such good guns? Because I've got about 10 or 15 weapons that have literally like the very top level mods on them without having spent a single perk point on any of the crafting perks. Well, the way I do it is basically whenever I find a weapon, and you'll know which ones are the ones I found because they're not capital letters, the names. As you can see, I've renamed everything. Now, the best thing about that is it's a lot easier to find guns in your inventory if the first word of the gun is, you know, it refers to the type of weapon it is. So if I'm carrying 2 or 3 snipers, usually it would have like a prefix. So it might be like long at the start or calibrated or whatever. So it's a bit more difficult to find, but I've renamed it so the actual type of the gun is the very first word, which means all my snipers are grouped together in the alphabetical order. So that's a good little tip. And also, if you name them all in capital letters, that means you always know which weapons are the ones that you're keeping that you particularly like. You can put capital letters and they kind of stand out above any of these ones with lowercase letters. So when I'm going back down through and I'm breaking stuff down, I know to just jump straight to these ones with lowercase letters because I know they're the ones I've just recently picked up. But what you can do is when you find one of these, this sniper rifle for instance, now I might already have a really good sniper rifle, a hunting sniper rifle, which I do. I've got this one here. Now this is a hunting rifle. It looks kind of different, but that's just because all the mods are different. And this one has got the extra 15 points of explosive damage. So this is the one, like, I'm not going to use any other hunting rifles as sniper rifles because this is a legendary one. So I've put all my best stuff on here. But I might, you know, let's say for argument's sake that I had a couple of slots here that didn't have particularly great stuff on and I wanted to improve them. What I could do is every time I find a sniper rifle that is the same archetype, so in other words, another hunting rifle based one, you can come here and you can basically look down through and you can free up any of these mods that you want to keep simply by equipping a different mod in that slot. So let's say for instance we're quite early on in the game and we've got, well, not even that early on because this is quite a high level one, the powerful receiver. Now let's say for argument's sake that I didn't have a calibrated powerful receiver available in my inventory. So I might look at this and think, wow, you know, powerful receiver, I can't make one of those because it needs gun nut, but it's the best thing I have access to at the moment. So I might think I'd really like to use that on one of my other guns. So all I would need to do is equip anything else on this gun and it would free up that slot. Now here is where you need to make a decision because on these some of these slots they require quite a lot of the higher or the rarer components, things like oil. So if I was to buy the standard receiver, it would require 2 oil. Now oil is really useful and it's quite rare, so you need it for like things like turrets and stuff to defend your settlements. So you might think, is it really worth freeing up the powerful receiver? But another option is if you do have another of these mods available in your inventory, pardon me, if you've already got one of them, then you can put that on instead and that won't cost you anything. So if it says at the bottom attach mod, what that means is you've already got one of them and you can put it on free of charge because you already own it. It won't cost you adhesive and gears and oil and stuff. So in this case I would compare the two and think, right, which is better and are they similar? Like the powerful receiver is basically the same as a hardened receiver. It's not automatic or anything. It doesn't give it any extra sort of a different fire rate or anything like that. So I think, right, they're basically the same, but powerful receiver is better. So I'm going to equip the hardened receiver rather than buying one of these other ones because I'm not going to need this hardened receiver. It's quite a high level one, but if I've got the powerful one, then that's better. I'm not going to use the hardened receiver on any gun if I've got the powerful one. So in this case, you save yourself having to spend oil by attaching one that you already own. Now in some of the other slots, I might think, right, the long ported barrel, that's a really good one. Now let's say, for instance, you don't own any of these lower level ones. You might just end up thinking, right, I'll just buy the short barrel, you know, because it doesn't cost too much as long as you've got enough resources and you're not low on any of them. You know, you can buy the short barrel and that will free up the long ported barrel. Now let's say for instance you own the short light barrel, you might think, oh, okay, I can attach that, and that'll free up the long ported. But then you might think to yourself, hang on, the short barrel is very different to the long barrel. It behaves differently. So you might think to yourself, yeah, okay, well, I might want to use the short barrel at some point. Although it's a lower level one, it's the best kind of short barrel you can get, the short light barrel. So you might think, if I want a hunting rifle that's not so long, it's a bit quicker to use and a bit, you know, a bit snappier, then I might want to use that on a different gun if I'm trying to build something different in the future. So you might think to yourself, okay, well, I don't want to waste that short barrel. So you might think, well, okay, I've got a normal long barrel, so I'll put that on because the long ported barrel is the same thing but better, so I don't mind wasting the long barrel because we're going to be breaking this gun down. So the whole idea is you put attachments on it that you don't mind losing. So you'd go down through and you do all the different things. I'm just going to, for the sake of argument, we've got a night vision scope, which is very cool, so I just stick on standard sights. I mean, you can always put on one of these other ones, but quite often the sights are all different, so sometimes I just buy the standard sight because it's quite useful keeping these reflex ones and the different length scopes, because you might want to swap your scope at different times depending on where you are. Anyway, once you're happy and you've put on all different mods that you don't mind losing, then you can come back out, break that gun down and get all the parts from it. And then all those mods are in your inventory to use on another hunting rifle in the future. But of course you want to then go to your, once you've done all your weapons, you broke down everything you don't want, you've freed up all the mods, you can come back to the actual inventory of the workshop, go to your inventory and put all these mods into the workbench itself. And that means those are available now. Next time you come to the workbench, if you come here with another hunting rifle, you'll be able to put all those perks onto it if you so wish. And of course each weapon type has its own set of mods, so you can't use mods from one type of weapon on another. And the only weapon that becomes a bit confusing is the pipe guns. Now, there are 3 different types of pipe guns. There's normal pipe guns, then there's bolt action, then there's revolver ones. And of course those are 3 different groups and they all share 3 different sets of mods. But don't be put off by the fact that you've got if you've got a pipe pistol and then you've got a pipe sniper rifle, you might think, oh, the mods won't carry over. Well, they will, because it's the mods that turn a gun from a pistol into a sniper rifle. So as long as it's the same basic, you know, the very base model of the gun is the same, as long as it's not a revolver and it's not a bolt action, they're both, you know, just normal pipe guns, then they'll share all the same mods. And the same applies to armour as well, guys. I just want to show you quickly that it's actually a lot easier sorting your armour because the lowest level mods in each slot is free to buy. So you can buy the standard one, it doesn't cost anything. So in every case I just go down through, put the lowest level thing on everything, then break it down. And that makes things a lot quicker and easier. Anyway, I hope that's made sense, guys. I need to wrap things up because I've only got 15 minutes of record time on the PS4. But I just wanted to clarify that because I felt bad that I'd given you some bad advice. So I hope that's been helpful, and I hope you guys can sort of work on creating some awesome weapons without necessarily needing to buy the perks. In the meantime, I'm really appreciating all the support. Sorry, I'm a bit tongue-tied, a little bit ill today. But yeah, thanks for all the feedback. Let me know if you have any questions. I'll catch you all in the next video. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.